Join me in welcoming Pauline Renaud. Hey, Pauline, how are you doing today?
Wonderful.
All right. So tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, I'm Pauline Renaud, and I just published my first book. And it was interesting how the book all came about, I think. It was the most difficult but rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. And I had never intended or even thought that I would ever write a book. But I had a near death experience. And at the end of that experience, the next morning I woke up, and that's what the universe, God told me to do, was to share my story with the world. I had a very challenging upbringing, and I think my story that me sharing it can help a lot of people in the world.
And I think, Steve, my mom shows up. She's there for me. She's there for my sister, my brother, even my family. She's a support system for all of us. She motivates us on a regular basis. I know with the book and all the years that it took, to get it published and put together was something inspiring for me. So she shows up in our lives, and it's like God being presented to us, and she definitely inspires us. So
This is my daughter, my oldest daughter, Melissa. Okay.
Right. And you have your other daughter behind the camera, right?
I do. Amy. Amy, step in
come
and say
on,
hello.
peek over.
My son lives in a different state, or he'd be here. This is Amy. Come on, Amy. Say hi. Stick your
Wave
head
to us
in.
real
This is
quick.
the baby sis.
Hello.
Boy, we saw a hand.
We saw your hand.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right. Got the whole family here today. So
Yeah,
tell us. Yeah.
I try to be authentic, and in my book, it's my true life story. It's part one. There's going to be two books, and I share in there how the book came about. Like I just said, I thought that was very interesting. A lot of people ask me, like, I was married for 25 years and I'm still friends with my ex-husband. And a lot of people ask me, we go on vacation together. They say, how can you be friends with him? And I'm like, well, why not be friends with him? And that's one of the ways that I show up. And I hope that helps other people, my story, move forward and learn to forgive and use the past. The reason why I named the book No Wasted Rain, we all have rain in our life, but in one form or another, what are you going to do with your rain? You have your rain for a reason. How does it motivate you? How do you use it to help other people? We're all here to help other people. That helps ourselves. A lot of people, I think, don't understand that. They think they're here for themselves. By helping others, you will help yourself. And I definitely show up big time. And I have always shown up that way.
Absolutely. So I won't ask you which of your children is your favorite, but here, I will ask you this question. What's your favorite part of the book?
Um, that's interesting. My favorite part of the book, I think, well, I didn't write how I got the name of the book. The title. The title of the book is I loved it, how I got the title of the book. I was sleeping. I live in North Carolina, but I came to visit my daughter in Charlotte. I own the house here. And I actually was sleeping in the middle of the night. I had been meditating on the name of the book. And in the middle of the night, about 3:30 or so, I woke up with water dripping basically in my face. And then it started pouring, and I was like, what is going on here? And I'm like, what's happening? And the ceiling had been leaking for the first time. And of all places in the house, it was literally leaking basically right into my face in the middle of the night. I happened to be asleep in the bed. So I was like, water has to have something to do with the title of my book. And then that was Thursday night. Then Sunday, and I asked for a confirmation. On Sunday, the pastor preached on wasted rain. So there's no wasted rain. Some people think, oh, let me forget my past. Sometimes you have to visit your past. to understand and to move forward. I think a lot of people try to patterns that we have in life, decisions that we make are all based upon our reign in life, the reign that we have. I had some serious patterns, and I realized those patterns really wasn't a part of who I was. In a way, there was patterns that I had developed, fears, in the past. And writing this book was definitely a huge fear of mine. When you read my book, you will find education. I grew up in the rural South until I was 16 years old. And education then, it just lets you pass. I talk about, integration in the school system. I was born in 57, but it wasn't enforced until I was going to the 3rd grade. So I share that in my book. I share a lot of things in my book. Some funny things in my book. My sisters, we used to stand on the porch and pretend to be Diana Ross and sing. And my older sister, she was the boss, so she had to be Diana Ross. And the other sister and I, we had to be the backup singers. And I love that story that's in the book. There's some funny things in there. There's some serious things in there. But and at the end, there's things that I think that people can get a lot of benefit out of, ways to support themselves, in the book.
Mom wants to do a little shout out. Aunt Robin from Jersey. Rebecca.
Hello. Oh, my cousin Rebecca in North Carolina. Oh, they're all over the place.
Deborah.
Oh, Deborah from the UK. Hello, Deborah.
In fact, Deborah says, I really like the way you turned your experience into such positive lessons, and the way you share your story is so powerful. Nanette says, so proud of you, Sharon. Love you and the girls. Nanette says she's happy for you. Hearts from Robin, and hearts from Dems Elizabeth. So people are listening. They're excited about your book. We've all been looking forward to it. Without getting too much into it, what was the hardest part for you, to share in the book?
The book was very difficult. Like I said, it was the most difficult thing I've ever done. And I was told to write this book 7 years ago. And with Corona last year, I was in the middle of writing it. Steve, you're the publisher. It's been a couple of years. And I would it was very difficult, just reliving a lot of those things. And understanding. Sometimes not only reliving, but understanding where the people that hurt us the most, where they're coming from and what their life was about. That was very difficult. My grandmother raised me, and it was very challenging for her. And it wasn't until I was an adult, and I talk about that in the book, when all of a sudden it was like a flood that come back to hit me about what she had gone through. And that was very difficult for me to think about her, and to think about, when she got us, she was in her late 50s. And all along, my grandfather passed. And I can't imagine doing that. I'm 63 right now. And I can't imagine someone giving me 3 little kids to raise. And just living the story again, and being truthful, but being fair and understanding, that was very difficult. And some things I didn't realize, honestly, until I was writing the story. Some patterns I didn't realize. And understanding, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
So you talk about in the story that you experienced prejudice, not only, there was obviously a lot of it during that transition time of school, but you also experienced it there at home. What was that like?
I didn't understand that. My grandmother, there was 3 of us. And a lot of times, people have things in their lives that they're dealing with. Everyone has things that they're dealing with. Sometimes you don't know how to deal with them. So you have to have an outlet. So my grandmother, I was her outlet a lot for her to use. And my grandmother, since I'm lighter than my other two sisters and my grandmother, my color was used against me. And that goes back to slavery time. You know, in slavery, they pitted the skin color of Black people against each other. And my grandmother was born in 1902. She would have just had a birthday. May 2nd was her birthday. And I said she would have been 119. And as strong as she was, I'm surprised she's not here. She lived to be 98. God bless her soul. And but she used that against me ever since I was a young child. She called me something that wasn't very nice, a yellow whatever, and it's in my book. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, I knew it wasn't something good, but I was like, you know, and she used to tell me, you think you're white. You think you're white. You're not white. You're no better than any of the rest of us. You're the same as the rest of us. And I thought, well, yeah, I am the same, although I thought different. But that's what made me always wonder, you know, why I was different. So I think I understand. A lot of times I think people, when it comes to race, they don't stop to understand someone else's point of view. And that was something that my grandmother definitely used against me, was my color. And I didn't realize until I was writing the book that it was prejudice in my own home by my skin color. Of course, when we went to school and they integrated the school, in the 2nd grade, the teachers told us, you shouldn't be here. Why are you here? And we're not going to teach you. And they did things, and all of this is in my book, about, you know, black people. They used our skin color against us. And at home, my grandmother did as well. I think that was the easiest thing and the obvious thing for her to use, was that I was light. And I think that goes back, if you think about it, 1902, she was just one step out of slavery. Her grandparents had to be slaves. We was born and raised in southern North Carolina, near Wilmington, and she had to be just one step out. So I can't imagine that was used against, you know, back in slavery time, they used that against them. They used that to keep the slaves divided. And there's so much. And I didn't want my book is not only about race. I didn't want to, you know, we have that right now, huge in this country. And I intend definitely to speak on that some more, and other things as well. But that's one of the things, because to me, in your reign, you're always given the reign. That's what I want people to understand, to stop and look. Why did this happen in my life? So by me, for being prejudiced in my own home, I know that was a big thing for me as a child. That was a huge thing in my house that was used against me. There was times, Steve, when my younger sister and I would come in from the juke joint. You might not know what that is. A little one-room place that you go dance in and what have you. And there was times that when we came home, sometimes I guess my grandmother wasn't having such a good night. Well, she would get up and unlock the door and tell my sister, you can come in. She says, but you yellow bitch, you want to sleep on the porch tonight. You're not coming in here. So, of course, where we grew up, there were snakes that crawled all around. I wasn't going to sleep on the porch, but there was chairs out there. So I would sit on the porch and I would wait until the morning. They're going to get up, you know, and open the door. But that's just one thing. I talk a little bit about that in my book. That's one thing that I share. And my grandmother was a wonderful woman. And I don't want people to think that she wasn't. We all of us have things that we're dealing with in our life. And sometimes we may lash out to people that we love or in our life, the closest people to us, just because we don't have anyone else to latch out to.
Such an amazing book. The book is called No Wasted Rain. You can get it today for free. I just posted the link. Yeah, there's a copy of the cover. You can get the ebook today for free. Pauline, before we go real quick here, just give people one step, one little tip that they could do today to not waste the rain that's fallen in their own life.
Understanding the rain. To understand the rain, you'll find in whatever your rain is. It could be abusive husband. It could be a challenge at a job or why you can't keep a job. In the back of my book, I give you tips on what to do. One of the things that I like to do, I like to write a grateful list, even the small things. A lot of people talk about a grateful list, but they talk about huge things. I like to start at the small things. Sometimes when I'm eating, I have a delicious meal. I'll say a prayer before the meal. Sometimes I'll stop in right after I take a couple bites, and I'll say a prayer again. I think that helps people to look at the good things in life, is to stop and to see. A lot of people everyone wants to be a certain place in life. But if you stop and realize and be grateful for where you are and what you have, there's so much in life that you can do. And in your rain, write down the things in your rain, the patterns. How do you think that affected you? Because unless you understand the patterns, how can you work on those patterns or see, maybe that's not my pattern? Maybe my father was someone that didn't like to spend money because of the way he grew up. He could have grew up in a depression. You know what I'm saying? So if you stop and look at these patterns and to jot them down in life, this is another list. This is a list that I suggest that people do in life, the struggles that you've had, and tear it up. Have a little ceremony with it. Get rid of it. Burn it. Bury it. Do whatever you have to do. Let the dog eat it. Instead of your homework or your work, let them eat that list. But you keep the grateful list. And try to write that grateful list every single day. Every day, the small things. Sometimes I'm home alone and I got my television and my crime shows and a bottle of wine. And that goes on my grateful list before I start drinking. And I enjoy that. And there's a lot more tips. Declutter your home. A lot of people hold on to stuff. You're holding on to stuff. Declutter, clean out, give to charity. Those pants are never going to fit you again. And if they do, they'll be out of style. Declutter your space. That declutters your mind.
So good. Again, the book is called No Wasted Rain. You can get it on Amazon for free today. Pauline, if somebody wants to go deeper with you, do you have a place that they can connect with you?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel and I will be setting up a website. So
Perfect.
Right now, if someone wants to go deeper in my Facebook, just contact me there or YouTube, and I definitely will go deeper and share more with you. And I'm excited. I'm excited to make this a bestseller. I'm excited for everyone to be able to go and download. Please go and download this book. It's a free copy to your Kindle. And we didn't price the paperback copy. It's $9.99. I wanted everyone to be able to reach out and get this book and share it with someone else as well. And make sure you pay close attention to the back of the guides in the book, because they'll definitely help you. I guarantee you that.
Well, Pauline, thanks so much for joining us today. And both of your daughters, thank you, Melissa and Amy, both for being here with us too. And we'll go back now and reply to all these comments and all that fun stuff. Thanks
Yes.
everybody for being with us here
Thank
today.
you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, everybody.
All